A couple of months ago, this site called the Obsidian Assembly picked up Site of the Day on awards. It has a lot going on, but one thing stood out to me immediately: the page transition. Click any link in the navigation, and 4 full width bars sweep across the screen from left to right, one after another, sealing the page shut. The brand name rises into view, sits there for a beat, and then everything leaves the way it came, wiping across and revealing the new page underneath. It looks expensive, but strip it back and this is one of the most reused transition patterns in modern web design. You will find it across award-winning sites all year, dressed up differently every time, but the mechanics underneath are always the same. That is exactly why I thought this would make a good enough breakdown to cover on the channel. It is a pattern you will reach for again and again, and we have not touched a Next.js project on the channel in a while, so I put together a small 3-page experience that recreates this transition using GSAP and Next Transition Router. The entire transition provider comes in at well under 100 lines. In this video, I will take you through the full build from scratch, step by step. If you would like to grab the source code for this project, along with hundreds of other micro projects and a brand new website template every month, you can check out the Pro membership via the link in the description. And if you find this kind of content useful, a like on the video and a subscribe really do help the channel grow. Alright, let's get into the code. To save some time, I have already set up the 3 pages we are going to be working with: Genesis, which is the home page, Threshold, and Sanctum. Each one follows the exact same structure, a section element acting as the hero, and an H1 with the page name inside it. Nothing more than that. A simple heading is enough to keep the page from looking empty, and the focus here is entirely on the transition. I have also put together a simple navbar component. It imports the link component from Next.js, so we get client-side navigation between our routes. Inside, the brand name sits on the left and the 3 page links sit on the right. One for the home page, one for Threshold, and one for Sanctum. Each link is wrapped in its own div, which gives us something to hang padding off later. And finally, I have cleaned up the layout file. I swapped out the boilerplate fonts for instrument serif and instrument sans, wired them up as CSS variables, and imported the navbar so it renders above the children. Since this is the root layout, it shows up across the entire site automatically. As you can see on the side, everything is running fine. Before we get into the styling, we need our assets. I will head into the public directory and drop in 3 images. These will serve as the full screen backgrounds for each page. With those in place, let's move on to the CSS. Let's open up the global CSS file and start building out the look and feel of the project. First, I'll define a few variables inside the root selector: a background color, a foreground color, and a separate variable for the transition block color. Keeping these at the top means we can adjust the entire palette from one place later. Next, a quick reset, removing the default margins and paddings and switching everything over to border box sizing. Now let's style the navbar. I'll position it fixed at the top of the screen so it stays visible across all pages, and use flexbox to push the brand name to the left and the nav links to the right. I'll also give it a Z index so it always sits above the page content. Then the nav links themselves, I'll lay them out in a row with some spacing between them, add a bit of padding to each one, and style the links using the instrument sans font and our foreground color so they stay readable against the dark backgrounds. Next, the hero sections. Each one takes up the full viewport height, and I'll center the content both horizontally and vertically using flexbox. I'll also hide any overflow so nothing spills outside the viewport during the transition. Then I'll assign each page its own background image using the class we set up earlier. Genesis gets the first image, Threshold gets the second, and Sanctum gets the third. Each one is set to cover the full section and stay centered. For the heading, I'll use the instrument serif font. The font size scales fluidly using clamp so it looks good on every screen size, and the line height is kept at 1 so the large text sits cleanly in the center of the screen. Then a media query for smaller screens. I'll stack the nav links vertically on the right side so the layout holds up nicely on mobile as well. Now the last few things we need are the styles for the transition overlay itself. First, the transition grid. This is the container that will sit fixed on top of everything else. It covers the entire viewport, uses flexbox in a column direction, ignores pointer events so it never blocks any clicks, and hides overflow so none of the animated blocks spill outside the screen. Then the transition block. Each block inside the grid gets a flex value of 1, which means all 4 of them share the container height equally, no matter what size the screen is. The background comes from the transition color variable we defined at the top. We start each block at a scale of 0 on the x-axis, so they are invisible by default, and set the transform origin to the left, which is what makes them grow outward from the left edge. We are also adding will change transform here to hint to the browser that these elements are going to be animated, which helps keep things smooth. Next, the transition text. This is a separate layer that sits on top of the blocks. With a higher Z index, it covers the full viewport, centers the text in the middle of the screen, and ignores pointer events as well. Keeping it outside the grid means it stays completely unaffected by the blocks scaling underneath it. Then the heading inside it. Instrument serif again, scaling fluidly with clamp, and this time colored with our background variable, since the blocks are light and we want the text to read against them. And finally, the word class. Every word inside that heading starts pushed fully down, out of view, and we will change transform here as well. And that is all the styling done. The project is looking good on the side, and now we can start working on the transition provider, which is what actually handles the page changes and drives the entire animation. Before we can touch the transition logic, we need two packages, so I'll open the integrated terminal and pull them both in at once. The first one is Next Transition Router. This is what makes animated page transitions in Next.js actually manageable. It sits between the link click and the page swap, hands us a leave callback and an enter callback, and then waits for us. Whatever animation we run inside those callbacks, it will hold the page change until we tell it we are done, and it does not care which animation library we use. The second one is GSAP, which is what we'll use to drive the actual animation. Once both finish installing, I'll close the terminal. Now I'll create a new folder called providers in the source directory, and inside it a file called transitionprovider.jsx. Everything that controls the transition is going to live in this one file, and it will sit at the very top of the app, wrapping every single page. Let's get the basic structure down first. So I'll paste this in. Right at the top, we are marking this as a client component. We'll be reaching into the DOM and running animations on it, and neither of those work on the server, so this line is not optional. Then we bring in the transition router itself and wrap the children with it. The important bit here is the auto prop. With auto enabled, the router watches for clicks on any Next.js link component and intercepts them for us. It figures out that a navigation is happening, pauses it, and fires our callbacks, which means every link in the navbar we built earlier is already wired into this. We just have not given it anything to run yet. Back over in the layout file, I'll import the provider and wrap the entire body content with it. The navbar and the page children both sit inside now, so the provider has control over every route change on the site. Nothing will look any different at this point. The plumbing is connected, but there is no animation on the other end of it. Let's go build that. Let's start by bringing in the imports we need. First, use ref from React, since we are going to be holding on to the actual DOM elements and handing them straight to GSAP. Just above the component, I'll define a constant for the number of rows and set it to 4. That is how many blocks the transition is going to have, and keeping it up here means we can change the whole feel of the effect from one line later. Inside the component, I'll create two refs. The first one, grid ref, points to the container that holds all our blocks. The second one, blocks ref, starts as an empty array and will store every individual block. Keeping them in refs means GSAP can target them directly without React getting in the way. Now let's render the blocks. Inside the transition router, right before the children, I'll add a div, attach the grid ref to it, and give it the transition grid class. Then I'll loop over our row count and return a block for each one with the transition block class and a ref callback that pushes each element into the blocks array, and that is the entire grid. 4 divs. Because we set flex to 1 on the block class earlier, they automatically split the container height evenly between them, no matter what size the screen is. Next, let's bring in GSAP along with a plugin called Custom Ease. Custom Ease lets us define our own easing curve instead of relying on the built-in ones. So I'll register it and then create a curve called Hop. This gives us a much sharper motion than something like Power 4. It accelerates hard out of the gate and then brakes hard right at the end. We are creating it outside the component, so it only ever runs once and not on every single render. Now for the fun part, let's write the leave animation. I'll define a function called animateIn, which takes an onComplete callback. Inside, I'll create a GSAP timeline and pass that callback straight to it, so the timeline fires it automatically the moment the animation finishes. First, I'll set the transform origin on every block to the left and reset their scale on the x-axis back to 0. This makes sure we are always starting from a clean state. Then I'll animate all 4 blocks up to a scale of 1. Because the origin is on the left, each block grows outward from the left edge, sweeping across the screen. I'm using our hop ease here and adding a small stagger, so instead of all 4 moving together, each one starts a fraction of a second after the one above it. That is what gives the effect its cascade. Finally, I return the timeline so we can kill it later if we need to. Now the enter animation. Animate out works exactly the same way, but in reverse. The key difference is right here. This time, the transform origin is set to the right. So when we animate the blocks back down to 0, they do not shrink back the way they came. They collapse toward the left, continuing in the same direction they were already traveling. That one change is the entire trick behind this effect. The block grows from the left and then it collapses toward the left. Put those two halves together and it reads as one continuous sweep moving across the screen rather than a bar that grows and then reverses. Same duration, same ease, same stagger. Now let's wire both of these into the transition router. I'll add the leave callback and call animate in, passing it the next function directly. The router will wait until our timeline finishes and calls next before it swaps the page. Then the enter callback, doing exactly the same thing with animate out. And in both cases, I return a cleanup function that kills the timeline if the animation needs to stop early. And with that, the transition is live. Click any link and the blocks sweep in, the page changes underneath and the blocks sweep back out. Now let's add the text. For this, we need one more plugin, Split Text. I'll register it alongside custom ease and then add 3 more refs, heading ref for the actual h1 element, words ref, which will hold each individual word once it is split, and split ref to hold on to the split text instance itself so we can clean it up later. Down in the return, below our grid, I'll add another div with the transition text class and drop the h1 inside it with our brand name and the heading ref attached. Remember, this sits on a higher layer than the blocks, so it stays completely unaffected by them scaling underneath. Now let's split it. I'll bring in use effect and inside it create a new split text instance on our heading. We are splitting by words, giving each word the word class, and then this line here is the important one, mask set to words. This tells split text to wrap every single word in its own container with overflow hidden, which means we do not have to write a single line of extra markup or CSS to get that clipping effect. It handles it for us. Then I store the words in our ref and use GSAP to push all of them fully down and out of view so nothing is visible by default, and I return a cleanup function that reverts the split, which stops us from accidentally splitting the same heading twice on a refresh. Back in animate in, I'll reset the words to their hidden position, right alongside where we reset the blocks. Then, after the block animation, I'll bring the words up into view and notice this position parameter at the end. Without it, the words would sit and wait for the blocks to completely finish. Instead, this pulls the animation backwards, so the words start rising while the last block is still sweeping across. Those two motions overlap, and the whole thing feels like one movement instead of two. I'm also using a different ease here on purpose. The blocks get hop, which is sharp and mechanical. The words get power 4 out, so they rise quickly and settle softly. Now in animate out, we do the same thing in reverse, but the order flips. The words leave first, dropping back down out of view, and then the blocks follow, pulled almost entirely back on top of the word animation, so the text and the blocks leave together as one motion rather than one waiting on the other. And that is the transition provider complete. When we leave a page, the blocks sweep in from the left and the brand name rises up behind them. When we enter the new page, the text drops away and the blocks continue in the same direction, wiping the screen clean. The whole thing comes in at under 100 lines and every part of it is adjustable. Hope you found the video helpful. See you in the next one.